If you struggle with sprinting faster, then in this video, I'm going to teach you how to sprint faster by improving your technique. We're going to cover one of the fastest athletes of all time, Aaron Knighton, and his technique in every single phase, his acceleration, max velocity, and his speed endurance phase. And I'm going to teach you what to do in each part of the phase so you can actually improve your speed. Let's get straight to it. First thing we're going to take a look at is his block start. So in the setup, this is really important for a lot of sprinters, even if you're in the NFL, track, doesn't matter. You want this knee right here to be under your hip. He has it a little bit in front. That can give you a little more power on your back leg, but you want this Achilles tendon to be loaded. So you see how once he raises, this Achilles tendon is activated, and since his knee is under his hip, his back foot will be able to produce a lot of force, which is where you're going to get most of your force from. A lot of people push off this front foot. His main reasons is because they don't have a power position in front of this back foot and their Achilles tendon is not loaded. Another thing that's really important too, when you see in his start right here, his head is relaxed and it's nice and down. He's looking probably at like his pelvis area. Now, this is the most important part of the start, is this set position. His whole entire shoulders are slightly in front of the hands. His hips go straight up, so they go exactly up. They don't go forward. He doesn't roll forward a lot. His Achilles tendon is loaded. He has his toes touching the ground and a little bit clipped into the ground, so you're not only going horizontal, you got a little bit vertical traction right there. And then on top of that, you always want to see positions like this where the knee is in line with this knee, or the knee could be a little farther back, like this separation right here. You'll see separation between these two right here. His core looks tight right here, and he keeps his head relaxed. So like I said, he's looking back. He's looking back because he's gonna push back that entire time. This is the block start portion. We're gonna go into acceleration next. This is the best angle I'm gonna get for the acceleration. So we're gonna look at lane 6, I believe. Right here is gonna be Aaron Knighton. In his stance, he gets up pretty early. All right, so his body's pretty vertical, very early into acceleration. There's really nothing wrong with that. A lot of people think you need to be at such a horizontal 45-degree angle the entire time during acceleration. That is optimal, but most athletes, even the most top athletes in the world, are going to be maybe 3 steps at a 45-degree angle, and then they'll pop up just like this right away. So it doesn't mean he's weak or he needs to work on it. His superpower obviously is the speed endurance end of the race and the max velocity. So we only have a couple frames of this, but he pushes off that back foot. This front foot comes out first, then he toe drags, which I'm not a big fan of, but if you think that works for you, that's fine. But the biggest thing we're seeing here is his heel turning in. A lot of people don't know about this. Your heel turning in is an indicator that you are activating your glutes pretty well. If your heels don't turn in, you're probably lacking some type of external or internal hip rotation, and that can really hold you back in terms of your acceleration ability and also max velocity. So he pushes very hard. His heels turn in the entire time. He keeps his head at a pretty neutral place. He doesn't just look up right away or look super hard down, forcing his neck in any type of weird position. You see the hip internal rotation right here. A lot of people don't want your knees in. They say when you squat, push your knees out, all this type of stuff. You want some internal rotation because that's where you produce force. You produce force on the way, so when your knees cave in, that's where you see a lot of the top jumpers. When they jump, their knees come in at contraction part of the phase. You want that, and when you get that and you get a lot of good heel turn, you're pretty set up for some good glute contraction and some good force production, which obviously he's able to produce a lot of force to run this fast. In terms of stride length, his strides stay right under his body. You want to attack down and back, and you want to land right under your hip. That will give you a positive angle and force forward to run fast. A lot of people try to bring their knees up. You actually need to think about bringing your knees down, attacking down as fast as possible, and your knees will come up and gain height like a bystander or a bifactor of that. So he comes here, he's about 4 foot, he lands 4 foot pretty well, and then he's into max velocity. Now we're going to talk about max velocity here. You can see he keeps his torso right here above his hips. That's really important. He has a little bit of forward lean. There's nothing wrong with the forward lean. Too many people hear tall posture and they start to lean back. Someone who's leaning back right now is this lane right here where my mouse is at. He's kind of in that position, even him right here, where they start to lean back when they try to stay too tall. He keeps a really strong core, so it's kind of like his core is flexed and he stays above his center of mass, which is his hips. And then just simply, he lands in a bent knee position. Another thing that you hear all the time is you need to land completely straight with the foot right under your hips like you do in your form drills. But once you're racing against the fastest people in the world, that's never going to happen. All right, it might happen, but you're not going to get it every single time. And it's really about just not heel striking, staying as close to your center of mass and producing a shit ton of vertical force under your center of mass. Like we talked about earlier, his internal rotation at the hips are really well, and he's producing a lot of force. A big myth that a lot of people do wrong is the thing about swinging their arms forward. He's swinging his arms back, and you see how his front arm barely even comes forward right here. This is about as far as it comes, and he bends. But the biggest part is driving it back, because when you drive your arms back, you activate the opposite glute. So this arm is back, and now the foot that's down, his glute is firing when you drive that arm back. It's basic biomechanics. He keeps that going, he keeps his form strong, and this is how you run good max velocity. It's just that simple, and the most important part is he's relaxed. The next thing we're going to go into is speed endurance. The speed endurance part is really about your form. As long as you keep your technique around this curve, doesn't really matter. Everyone likes to talk about the bend, who cares? You just need to keep your form as much as possible. Everyone else will start breaking down around this part, but as long as you stay landing under your center of mass, you train your speed endurance during practice, you're going to be just fine. You want a good core. You don't want to limit rotation. Too many people try to get stiff towards the end of the speed endurance. You want to just keep rotating, breathe, keep your neck at a neutral posture, keep your body at a neutral posture, and let that shit ride. You will fly if you relax more during the speed endurance instead of trying to force something, because you know that you cannot run faster after 50 meters. It's all about who slows down the most. This is his technique breakdown. If you want to learn more about getting faster or jumping higher, check out one of these two videos. Have a good day.